right, guys. It's Sunday night service.
It is Sunday night service.
And I'm Dani.
And I'm Dr. Motley.
That's right. And it is Mother's Day 2018. And we're here with Cindy Kubica. Oh, my goodness. Happy Mother's Day, Cindy. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, and happy Mother's Day to you. And, you know, I really think that this is perfect to be talking about tatas on Mother's Day.
It is. I know, isn't it something? So we are talking about, while people are getting logged on tonight, and I know it's Mother's Day, and I know we may have a few less people today, but we are talking about breast implant illness tonight, and it is real. Breast implant illness, not breast plant illness. Breast implant illness, goodness gracious. Tonight. Lord. And so, and it is real. And Cindy's going to talk about her journey tonight and her story and what's going to be going on with her. And I'm really excited tonight. And Cindy, for those of you that don't know Cindy, Cindy is actually, she has an international talk show, right?
Yes.
International talk show, which is Energized Living Today. And I've been on that talk show with you. I think it's probably been about 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 years ago. She's an author. She lives in the Franklin, Tennessee area. I mean, she's been in broadcast and this end of this industry for years and years and years. She's a grandmother.
Oh, so you're a grandmother?
And
no,
she rides an Indian motorcycle, and she had it at my office this week, and I was so wanted to get on that.
She's so bad. I didn't know that. You're so bad, Cindy. Good job.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, all right, guys, as you all are logging on tonight, click your heart buttons and click your like buttons so that we know we're there, and tell us, we know you're there, and tell us where you are. Hello, Rhonda, and hello, Pat, and let us know where you are. Okay. And so we're going to get started right into this. And breast implant illness. It is real. I do believe that we miss it so many times. Don't you, Cindy? I think we miss this as providers. We get so many patients in our office who complain of joint pain and fibromyalgia, and they have autoimmune disease, and they have dizziness and shortness of breath and joint pain, migraine headaches, all of these symptoms. They get diagnosed with lupus or multiple sclerosis or rheumatoid arthritis, and we miss it. Many times we don't even ask. I mean, we see it. I wasn't taught in school to ask about, well, when did you start getting sick? Did your symptoms start, how soon after you had breast implants? How often, Cindy, were you ever asked that?
Never.
Not one time, right? You had to figure this out on your own. Isn't that something? Silicone is an endocrine disruptor, right? So it disrupts the endocrine system in our body. It's what happens is, what they say is that breast implant illness is really not a problem with the breast implant so much. It's a problem with the fact that you have a foreign body in there, but they actually develop mold in them. So they think it's a mold problem, right? It's a mold toxicity and a mold issue. And it's quite fascinating. Silicone and saline implants both contain over 40 toxic elements in them. Isn't that something?
That's
right? That can cause illness.
And I have about 15 of them that they tested that are in my bloodstream.
Oh, goodness. Wow. Silicone attracts fungi, right, to it, and it provides a potential breeding ground for fungi to proliferate systemically throughout the body, which is fascinating because you think it's going to stay right here. But what happens is, when you have your breast implants, they develop a capsule around them, right? So they encapsulate, which helps protect it. Encapsulation's okay. It's good. But that encapsulation has a blood source to it, right? Wow. So it has capillaries and a blood source. And as your implants may start to leak or they may start to degrade, then that capillary blood source from the capsule, I mean, it goes systemic through your entire body. Wow. The illness does. And it's it can be life-threatening. Anything from as minor as joint pain and, confusion and dizziness to death from breast implants. So it's really something that we need to look at. And so, talking about the capsule, we are unsure exactly how many women in the United States have breast implants, because did you know there's no registry for implants.
Wow.
I didn't know
I
that
did not
until
either.
today. Did you know that, Cindy?
Yep.
So we don't know.
I
We know
found
how
that
to
out
do.
in my research. Mhm.
Yeah.
And real quick, what are the tests that they do for like the different like toxins they found in your blood, Cindy? Like, do they do a certain like organic acid test, or they have like a certain blood test that
They sent out a blood test to find out the metals, specifically metals, because, and I'll talk about this in a moment, because mine was multi-leveled, which made it very confusing getting to this point to understand that this was part of the problem, even maybe the biggest part of the problem. But they did, Dani actually sent me to a doctor that did chelation therapy on me. And they did a metals test because of the chelation. And they said, where are you getting all these other metals? Well, now I know.
So now she knows, right? But that's interesting, because even them, where I sent you, because I knew my limits and I knew I had gone as far as I could with Cindy, right? But did they say to you specifically, you need to look into having your implants removed?
One of the nurse practitioners had just had hers done.
Okay.
And she was the one that brought up to me at first. And I thought, no, because I had all these other extenuating circumstances.
Exactly.
I had a car wreck, which started this whole journey. And I'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes. So there's two different kinds of implants, right? There's silicone, and then there's saline, right? So silicone is the one that got in 1992, there was a whole moratorium through the government, put on silicone because women were getting sick from silicone implants. This is when saline became extremely popular, was around 1992, right? Mm-hmm. And so they have a valve in them, in the back of them, so that can leak, or it could rupture, or what have you. There's two different types of shells. And I learned this when I was researching, because I clearly don't have breast implants. If I do, they have deflated terribly to size AA. So, I need my money back for dang sure. I do have lupus and autoimmune disease, but I do not have, they're not caused from my AA natural breast over there. Okay. So anyway, there's a textured cover. So
sorry, Cindy.
I gotta tell you the best. Somebody that just had an explant, and she said before, and she showed this bra that had padding on it. It was nice like this. And then the other one was a flat sports bra. And she said after explant.
Before and after. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, well, that's how I feel. So anyway, there's two shells. There's textured, which has a fuzzy covering on it. Did you know that? I mean, do you know what kind of shell you have on yours?
Mine's smooth. That wasn't even around at the time. Okay,
so there's textured, and that's designed to cause less capsular contracture, right?
Right.
So a capsular contracture is when they kind of suck to you and they look like oranges just placed right there. Because here's
the capsule gets hard around the outside. That's
very
where
hard, and just stuck right there. So that's interesting, because about 10 years ago, my good friend at home is a plastic surgeon. And I went to him and I said, you know what? I'm finished with children. I just want to be a B cup. B as in boy, just straight up B cup. He said, well, number one, nobody wants to be a B cup. I said, oh, yes, you do when you're AA. Yes. And I just want it to look natural. So anyway, I stood there with my clothes off. You know how they do it. They mark you all up. And Dr. Ward says, you got to gain 20 pounds, Dani, before I do this, because they're going to encapsulate and they're going to look like oranges. And I said, I'm not gaining 20 pounds to have this. I'm not doing that. He said, well, I'm not doing it. Thank God, though, he didn't do it, because I already had lupus. No telling what could have happened to me. Yeah. But the only reason I didn't do it, because I was so vain, I didn't want to gain 20 pounds. So maybe he saved my life. I don't know. Or maybe I wouldn't have had any problems whatsoever. But anyway, so you have the textured kind. But did you know that the textured kind covering of the implant has been associated with a very aggressive form of lymphoma?
Wow.
Right. Very aggressive. Right. The smooth covering is not associated, though, with lymphoma at all. So you have a textured and you have a smooth. I didn't know this. 82% of all patients have 82% of the patients who report dizziness as a side effect are due to the neurotoxins inside the implant.
Oh, wow.
82%, right? What are the symptoms? What symptoms could people be having after they've had implants, right? Fatigue, fibromyalgia, joint pain, depression, autoimmune diseases, brain
Good gracious.
brain fog,
Memory.
Raynaud's syndrome. And I
Heard
didn't know
about
that.
Raynaud's syndrome.
Because of depleting arginine in the body due to methyl ethyl ketones in the body. Now, I don't even really know what all that means, but that
they
Dr.
break down. Yeah, they break down the arginine. I didn't know they had that in there. Wow.
And also, these patients have more viral infections.
Mm-hmm.
So, like upper respiratory infections and things like that. Interesting. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I mean, they get diagnosed with all kinds of diseases, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, fibro, that actually are not even, that are actually may not even be those diseases. Once they're explanted, many times the 100% they clear up. Did you know that the suicide rate is increased in breast implant patients?
Yeah.
What?
Breast cancer, though, is not increased. And the reason for that, which I found really interesting, is because of the pressure that's put on the breast area, because you could have a pound or more on each side, right, of saline or gel or what have you in there. But pressure apparently on areas prevents breast cancer. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Lung cancer,
I'm gonna
though,
write that
is
down.
increased in breast implants. Lung cancer is increased. Okay. Breast cancer is decreased. Suicide rate is increased. Aggressive lymphoma is increased with the textured silica or textured covers. But, you know, so those are just a few. I mean, we're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff tonight, but while people have logged on, we've got good people, or not good people. Of course, we got good people. We've got a good amount of people on here. Hey guys, if you're on here, click your like button.
Cindy is.
Oh my goodness.
There's so many people here. It's
So
great.
Jan says, from your research, can a person get silicone poisoning from a Mirena IUD? It is made of silicone. Well, you could, but I don't know that for sure. I haven't even looked at that. I was only looking at breast implants. I don't know about that. But Cindy, talk about your story. Tell us your story.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that I find it really interesting that doctors don't, many of the surgeons do not even recognize that there's breast implant illness. They don't even recognize it. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. The surgeon that I was going to go to that I've decided not to go to because he doesn't follow this very strict protocol. But he doesn't believe it because there's not a double-blind study, you know, and you've got these scientific minds that think that there needs to be that, even though in this one Facebook group alone, 41,000 women there, all symptoms are very similar, varying degrees of ill health, and that's not proof enough.
Yes. Yeah, the group.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
that's
but doctors don't recognize it, and he does not recognize it. And he says, well, you know, there's no proof, right? And
Yes.
I said, you don't have to believe it because I have somebody who does, who is helping me with my health, Dani Williamson. And I'm
Lord, that's great. Throw my name out there to the plastic surgeon. They already say, oh, you think I'm cuckoo and a witch doctor. I hear that all the time. Anyway.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Not you.
Uh-huh.
Not
Well,
you,
you know-
no.
No,
It doesn't matter that
What
I
were-
have that degree
Oh.
from Vanderbilt sitting behind me. They don't
they
care.
don't mind.
No.
What were the main symptoms, Cindy? Like when you started to note, like, I mean, have you noticed any type of symptoms or anything of that sort? Like anything that kicked it off? Like what were those
Well,
things?
I'm going to tell a little bit of my story because this is what made it complicated. And I really want to tell this story because this is what will make it complicated for many people out there. Mine all started with a car wreck. I had a car wreck. Somebody hit me from behind. My seatbelt locked. One of my implants was crushed. My chest was. They actually had to do reconstructive surgery on my right side. I always said I'm permanently perky on one side.
That's
Because of it.
We got a couple comedians on here
That's
tonight.
funny.
There we go.
permanently perky. I love it.
All right.
So I also I had brain bruising at
Oh.
the time because I hit the window. I knocked out my teeth. I had a lot of dental work that I had to go get done, and then I started getting sick. The first thing was hot flashes and mood swings. That was the very first thing. All of a sudden, they said it kicked me into menopause, the car wreck, because it was such a trauma. And I had shattered 3 bones in my neck and had a dual discectomy. So I had several surgeries after that right away. It really, I was injured pretty badly. And so I didn't know that it wasn't related to the car wreck because I had bone shards in my spinal cord. So they didn't even know if I'd walk normally again.
Did you get them? They go. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to keep going. Keep going. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
Yeah. And so, and at the same time, I had this dental work done, and I had a metal implant post put in over here. And Dani, you'll remember when I finally had that removed, 30% of my symptoms went away. But not everything. But oh my gosh, I felt so much better, clear-headed. The pain is not as bad, occasionally, but not as bad. And then I had this high levels of metal in my body, and I'll get back to that in just a moment. But the first thing was, as I said, the hot flashes, the mood swings. I couldn't remember anything. I'm a professional speaker, so I'd be in front of people, and all of a sudden I begin stuttering, and I've never stuttered in my life. So I'm like, oh, what is going on? And I couldn't remember things. Slowly, the pain started in my elbows, my neck, but I thought it was, I had a neck injury. Of course I had pain there. Shoulders, down my side. The other really weird thing was I had this smell, this odor, and I've asked you about that many times, Dani. And you're like, I don't know what that is. And I tried clay treatment, all this stuff, because I'm like, where's this weird odor coming from? This is the side that was damaged. And that was all put into my body. And the surgeon that I had repaired it, put in new implants. And then after I got the new implants in, I got worse and worse and worse. Pretty soon I was in the middle of a speaking engagement. All of a sudden my body shut down. My legs wouldn't work. I don't even know how I got to the stage or what I said. Smells became confused where I had, sensory confusion. The light would make it smell like there was a burning smell, in the room. When there was noise, it would make the lights brighter. Noise would. It would become unbearable to be around lights, and it was really strange. And then I was diagnosed with MS, and I had chronic fatigue. They said fibromyalgia, all this stuff. And they gave me the medication for it. And this is how I got to you. I was given medication for the MS. I was paralyzed for 3 weeks from the medication. I had no use from the neck down. I had no use of my limbs. When I would try and reach out like this, my arm actually would go in back of me, as it first started. And it was from the medication. And then that led me to firing the doctor. And I said, I am going to get healthy. And then I found you. And you started me on this path of healing my gut, looking at my body was not able to process any kind of nutrients. I wasn't holding them in my body. So you put me on a very strict regimen of all these different nutrients, and I slowly started feeling better. But then something would happen and I would slip backwards and I'd go, what is going on? And you could never figure it out. I did. Anytime I started doing yoga, meaning I'm putting more pressure on the implants when I'm laying down, I'm doing, cobra pose. Right after I do cobra, it's sending all that poison back into my body. I never related it to that.
No.
Here, I thought I was being healthy. I'm a runner doesn't bother me. I just did a half marathon. That doesn't bother me. I start doing certain yoga poses, and all of a sudden I start feeling worse because it just spreads it into my body.
So and I never thought to ask.
That's really great.
Well, why would you?
No.
We don't know, but that's why we're doing this, because people must know about this in the name of beauty. And I was a professional model for many, many years, and in the movies and hundreds of commercials, I started on on the stage. I was a professional singer. So the pressure was on to look your best. How many of you out there have that same pressure on you, or maybe your significant other thinks that you'll look better, if you had implants. And so you feel pressured to do this. Don't. As I told my husband, once I get these out, you better love me and you better never say a word or you're in the doghouse.
That's exactly right. But now you're self-confident enough to know anyway, if he did say something or somebody, I know you enough to know, but not every woman is confident enough to say, I love myself no matter what you think. Right.
And that's what I told him. I said, I'm going to love me just the way I am, because you got a choice. You can have me healthy or nice perky boobies and unhealthy. So which one would you rather have? And one of the symptoms is low libido. So there you go.
There you go. Woo! I can't wait till they're out. Okay.
Yeah, me too. Because this is the cool thing is, start the work now, everybody. I want to encourage you to start the work now, because if you do, you will be like me and not be as bad as many people out there. They're so unhealthy. But because I had been pursuing this for so long, I'm doing a detox 4 times a year.
And that's one of the things, though. Also, before you have your explant, you need to detox. You need to
do it now. You've got me on that powder.
Yes, the 10-day or the Metagenics, the ultra clear detox. I mean, you need to do a detox. You need to be getting glutathione in you. You need to be cleaning up your environment as much as possible. I mean, we have to get your body 100%. Because once you have this surgery, I mean, we've got to heal then after that.
Right.
But it's really interesting. I had a new patient and I was telling you about her. She was probably 3 months ago. I had this new gal, and she's an actress, professional actress from LA. She was in a big famous show that we all know. She's moved here to Franklin with her husband, and he's a director. Well, anyway, she's a young gal in her 30s, I guess. And she was so sick out in LA. I mean, and she's in this show that I used to watch all the time. And she was all the symptoms you have. I mean, she wasn't diagnosed with MS, but autoimmune disease and pain everywhere. And she's a beautiful gal. I mean, just gorgeous gal. Long story short, fast forward, she had her implants removed in September. And she saw me. She'd had her appointment for a while. She saw me like in November or something. 70% better. By the time I saw her, she said to me, Dani, I'm 70% better in 2 months. She said, I made the appointment with you when I was so sick waiting to get in. But anyway, she went ahead and had this done, and unbelievable. And so talk about the pressures that are on you, though. This is a woman who is on the world stage. I mean, in movies and right. And I mean, the red carpet, because I looked her up. And she said, no, it's not worth it. She's not going to redo it. She's going to do some fat grafting, or maybe she already has. I can't remember. But some fat grafting, which is now a bigger deal to do, is newer. And I don't know a lot about that, where they take fat from somewhere else and then they put it in and lift you up. But 70% better. Unbelievable to me.
I'm looking at that also, the fat grafting, to see if that's a viable option. I don't know. I am 61, so, I'm not going to be perky as I once was.
Most of the women are much younger than us doing that, right? So you don't see a lot of videos online. You don't see a lot of YouTube videos, because, guys, you all can go online and watch. I mean, there's a ton of information on there, but they're all younger than us, I should say. Not as seasoned as we are. They're young, more like him.
Oh, stop.
But, I want to say, everybody, I'm not comfortable doing this and talking about this, because it's not something that I really wanted to talk about, but I am an activist. And if I see something happening, by golly, I'm going to get the word out there, and my ego can sit in the back seat, because this isn't about me. This is about you and getting you healthy. And I really want to read some of the other symptoms here. I'll talk about some of mine that I had initially, but the first ones that manifested themselves was, the fatigue, low energy, cognitive dysfunction, which was brain fog, memory loss, headaches, joint, muscle pain, hair loss. Dani has seen me. Most people say, why do you always wear your hair back? You should wear it down. I can't. I have no hair. I'm half bald. I've had people ask me if I've had chemo. I'm very serious about that. It's pretty bad. And thank God for clip-in hair. You know, snap in, snap out for beautiful hair. Anyways, reoccurring infections. I had all these infections all the time, upper respiratory, swollen lymph nodes.
Yes, yes.
Glands. A lot of people will have rashes. I started having IBS. I had, as you know, Hashimoto's. I was diagnosed with, so it affected my thyroid, my adrenals. Dani kept saying, why can't we get your adrenals fixed? I am backwards. You know, I'll have high cortisol before I go to bed. And instead of in the morning when it should get high, you know, be higher, and it's really low in the morning. And I'm like backwards in everything. Some of the other things, you mentioned fibromyalgia, MS. A lot of people are diagnosed with that. Weight problems. This is the other thing. You know me. I'm a runner. I'm very athletic. I do marathons and half. I just finished my 61st half marathon. You know, and I can't keep my weight down. So I'm very active. I ride motorcycles. My husband and I do a lot of stuff, and yet I can't keep my weight down. So what is that about? Well, now we know. Poor sleep. How many of you out there cannot sleep through the night? And the other thing, Dani, that I have all the time is it feels like there's a ring around my heart. And as you know, I also had heart surgery.
Yes.
Which can be directly related to this as well, because heart palpitation, you know, all of that is part of it. But I feel like there's a pressure right around, and it's a burning sensation around my heart, that you can't catch your breath, and you wake up and you try and get comfortable all over the place. Thank God for Calm's Forte, or I would never sleep.
That's what Dr. Cole was talking about, the surgeon in Atlanta, that chest pressure, that chest burning, not like a heart attack, but the burning sensation in the chest that is so common, that's never associated with.
Right. And you know, you just did those, you had me do the heart test, you know, to see if there was any calcium. And I'm 100%. And I'm going, then what is wrong? You know, so they never have a reason. Well, it could be this, it could be that. You know, the underarm pain, swollen, tender lymph nodes, as I said before, around the breast, neck, groin. My groin was so swollen, I look like a guy. Men would be jealous. Sorry. Frequent urination.
Oh my Lord, you're losing your hair and you're growing a penis down there. I mean, this is bad. I'm really doing a good job working on her. I mean, she's going bald again.
Growing up. Okay, I did about said that on camera. I'm sorry, but you say you urinate a lot. They say that breast implants do affect ADH, like antidiuretic hormones.
Well, because you don't have it. Yeah.
Wow.
Right. It's
wow. I'm sorry the comment that you guys just made. I'm sorry. So
that's when she bought a motorcycle.
We got, you know, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And please, one of the healing things that you can do is laugh. Find things to laugh at. You know, I've got this little puppy right now here that I'm delivering it tonight to somebody. He's a little Yorkie, a teacup Yorkie. And he's going to someone. I picked it up from a breeder, and he's going to somebody tonight. And he is not even 2 pounds. And he's only going to be 3 pounds. And he has been playing with my cat, who is, she's a Maine Coon mix, and she's 12 pounds with this little teeny puppy. And I have been doing nothing but laughing for the last, 2 days. So however you can laugh. It's so important to your healing. Other things that, vertigo is another thing, because I've been asked about this a lot. Leaky gut. You preach, heal your gut. Heal your gut. Heal your gut.
Yes, I do. But now I've got to think about everybody's implants. I mean, and I know if they've had surgery, I know that because it's on their surgical history.
Right.
But I just have missed it. But I have said for years that we're missing mold with people. We're missing mold toxicity. But I'm thinking in the home, right? We're missing mold toxicity in the home, or sick work syndrome, all of that. but I never, ever thought about until you really about the mold in the body from the breast implants.
Do you
Now you
guys-
take environmental mold and you add environmental mold, which
bet.
I went through when I had a leak in, in my house, remember? And there was
mold.
So now you've got mold in your body, you've got mold in the walls, and you are going to be one sick puppy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you know that implants are only designed to be in the body for 8 to 10 years tops?
You might have been there 20 years.
How many?
I don't ever think about it.
Your implants in for 20 years. They're not designed to be there. They're designed to either be replaced, which is just creating a whole nother world of trouble, or removed, right? Only 8 to 10 years. And that comes from the research. That research comes from the engineers who designed the implants. I mean, that's where that comes from. This is not just some made up research. It comes from them. 8 to 10 years. And yes, Dorinda, I'm going to pop that up there. I don't see it. Her
okay. So should people with implants get them removed? Yes. It's called an explant. Yes. Now
and that's what we're talking about tonight, Dorinda, is the explant, and how patient symptoms literally within a week or two after being removed, their symptoms are 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% better. I mean, 100% better. I was watching an interview today from the lady who has that website that you sent me the link to, but I was watching the discoverbreastimplantillness.com. That website is phenomenal, but that woman had her implants removed, and within 2 weeks, she said she was literally 100% better. And she had been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis as well. Yeah.
Do they find that there are differences, Cindy, in, let's say, saline and the silicone? Do they find that silicone spreads to different areas than saline, or is there a big difference in that at all?
They're very different. They're very different in that when you have the silicone, of course, there's all the metals in there. There's urea, phenol, formaldehyde. And I was actually exposed to that as a kid. So I've got a double whammy here because my parents were the first ones actually to sue Dow Chemical over that because it was in the insulation. And we built a house and we found out what it was because a dog crawled up on the insulation and died. And that's how they ended up discovering that the insulation was killing people. So I already had that in my system and now I put it in there intentionally and it's in these implants. And then the saline, which is very healthy, but the outer shell is still silicone.
Yes, it certainly is. Isn't that something? We get away
take
from
down the question. The question is still over your faces there. I don't know. Take that down. I want to see your beautiful face.
I can see mine. I can see mine.
So the saline still has a coat that has silicone around
the
it.
saline implant, the actual texture, the actual shell is silicone.
Yeah.
So that's where, Cindy, that you had such high metal content from the metal content from like even the covering, even okay.
And silica proliferates to the brain, the sinuses, the chest, and all over the body, actually.
And that would affect your MTHFR because metal content will interfere with the enzyme action that allows it binds to the receptor site, so you can't even create any type of cellular metabolism if there's metals in there.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
And I have every person that I've talked to personally, Dani, has the double mutated gene. I think it's interesting that across the board, I haven't met one person yet that maybe they're out there. I haven't talked to them personally, but they all have the MTHFR.
That's
double
probably
mutated gene.
Most of them do. Yes. And so for those of you that are watching that don't know what MTHFR is, we don't have time to go into that tonight, but we have a whole Sunday night service on MTHFR. You can go back and watch it on the archives, and it says MTHFR. Yes. Yeah. So you can watch that, but it is a methylation blockage in your body where you don't methylate properly, and you're not going to be able to get rid of toxins and heavy metals as easily. So that's as far as we're going to go into that tonight. But Cindy, continue on.
Okay. And, I always thought it was weird that I never knew about the MTHFR until, of course, you. And then I never knew why I didn't sweat. And I've been an athlete all my life. I'm an aerobic instructor and a fitness trainer and everything else. But everybody said, you never sweat. You know, I couldn't detox properly.
That's something. Yeah, you could.
So it's always been like that. And let me go ahead and go through, see if there are any other ones that, your hormones, boy, will it screw with your hormones. Oh my gosh. Estrogen, progesterone imbalances. Oh gosh. Night sweats. Let's see here. Anything else that I really want to talk? Here's a big one. Dehydration. And right after this happened, I was at the Maui Writers Conference, and I became unconscious because I was so dehydrated. And they said, "Oh, you've been in the sun too long." No, I've been in a building learning, but I dehydrated that fast and I never knew why.
Wow.
So that was a big one. Weird discolorations, weird sensations in your feet and hands, and usually your feet can never get warm. It can be 90 degrees out and I have a heating pad on my feet. You know, so just a few things for you to think about. If this is you, call us. Go to these websites.
And we'll post the websites up here.
Healing Breast Implant Illness
all
is
of you.
another one.
There's some amazing information out there, like good, legitimate information. I watched an hour-long video with Dr. McCullough today.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
It's excellent. That's excellent.
You guys have suggestions, Cindy, like when you talk about antifungals, did you find any type of, both of you, like any type of antifungal, like, spices or herbs that you guys like to recommend?
No, I didn't find anything. And I don't know because I haven't dealt with this personally in the office.
Well, I actually have a homeopathic remedy that I take that's, to get rid of mold. So I've been taking that all this time because mold is a big nemesis for me. The other thing that these implants contain a lot of time is dyes. And I cannot have red dye number 40. I will blow up. You've seen it, Dani. I blow up like a balloon. Any dyes, but that red dye number 40, the blue dye also affects me, where I can gain 5 to 9 pounds overnight by having dyes. I never used to have a problem with bread at all, gluten. Oh my gosh, I had a piece of pizza the other day and I was 5 pounds up the next morning from one slice of pizza. So I never had food sensitivities.
Wow.
And what we did before the explant that I'm going to have done, Dani had me do a blood test to test for food sensitivities again. So we have a before and we're going to do an after, so that we can track this. You want a scientific study? I will be your test tube.
Right? That's exactly right. That's right.
I love it. It's amazing that with dyes, that patients that come into their office many times will test to coloring, like food coloring and dyes. And on a majority of them, like, I'm surprised. I used to think that it was just something that would be like, it's nothing really big. But now I've been very sensitive to like what they eat, like what has that in there, especially with the amount of estrogen receptors and how it affects estrogen receptors.
Exactly.
So folks, watch your food dyes.
Yes, most definitely. So once you have yours removed, so what we need to talk about is, okay, what are we going to ask your doctor? How are you going to find a doctor, right? On
this website that we're going to post below.
Yes.
And let me get the correct name again. It's Healing Breast Implant Illness .com. And when you go there, they have a list of surgeons that people have used that they recommend. The top surgeons are really hard to get into. I've already called them and, getting on their wait list, but I'll wait because I want it done properly. I continue to detox, and I will do that to make sure that my body is optimal when it comes time for that surgery.
Yes. So, and some things that you need to talk about when you're talking to your surgeon, right? Some questions you need to ask if you're considering having these removed, right? How many have they done? How many explants has the surgeon done? And Dr. Kolb says they need to have done at least 50, minimum of 50, in order to really know what they're doing. And do they remove the entire capsule? And if you watch online, there are some great videos, and they show there's a plastic surgeon on there who has real capsules, the encapsulated implant. And it looks like a hard glob of just, I mean, I don't even know what it looks like. It's fast. It looks like a big old thing of fat, but it's not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, they have to remove the entire capsule. How many have they done? Do they put drains in? Because you have to drain for a minimum of 5 to 7 days, Dr. Kolb says. So that's a big one, Cindy, when you find that surgeon.
And the person I was going to go to does not do that.
Does not put
so
the
all
drain.
kinds of red flags kept going up. And, you know, the big thing is, well, we won't worry if a little bit's left in there. No, you will worry about that.
We do worry. And also, you will be put on antibiotics after the surgery. But she also says they also have to put you on antifungals as well. Diflucan, nystatin, those have to be. Not only for the course of the antibiotics after the surgery, but if, God forbid, afterwards you get sick again or you get pneumonia and you do need an antibiotic for that. I mean, there are instances when you need an antibiotic. I mean, I'm not ever going to tell somebody you can't. But if you have to have an antibiotic, she says for a lifetime, you will always have to take an antifungal as well once you've had an explant, right? To kill the yeast, to kill the fungus.
Now that's something I didn't know. I didn't know.
So I learned that today. I didn't know that. I mean, I had no idea at all. And she says also, will they evaluate those implants once they're taken out? Will they send them off for mold to see what was growing, what was in there? That's a big deal.
That is a big deal. And that's something that I want to know. I want to know what is. And
she also says, you know, I mean, we're not finished here yet, but, you know, something that we need to keep in mind here is it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they begin to break down inside your body, because they will.
Yes.
And if anybody ever tells you they won't, they're lying to you, and they're not designed to be in there for life.
That's right. And for those of you who are having them removed and you're afraid, you know, that you're going to be either too small or,
like me,
you know, or kind of hangy downy, you know.
Well, I can't believe that it's possible to be a AA and be saggy. That's just really sad. I'm going to start doing more push-ups. Sorry. But I was sitting at Whole Foods yesterday with a friend of mine, and she's as small as I am, and she didn't have a bra on, and I didn't have a bra on. And her grandmother was there, and she's like, oh, I have to have a bra or I'll be tripping over them, you know. I mean, and I said, well, I mean,
I don't know what to say. I'm just listening.
But don't be, it's okay. I mean, I don't have anything. And, you know, the thing is, you know, I understand the reason women get implants. Now, not every woman gets an implant for vanity. Some women have had accidents. They've had something terrible happen to their breast, right? Children. And I was watching this today, some children like in a fire, you know, and they had implants, you know, when they got older, because I mean, there are traumatic reasons that people have had implants. It's not everybody's, not because they want, you know, it pushed up to here, the cleavage kind of thing. And so I would never, ever, ever poo-poo anybody who's had implants, because I wanted them. I just wasn't going to gain 20 pounds to do it. You know, so that's the best advice ever.
I actually wanted them out. And I had so much damage, you know, on this right side. They said it'd be better to, you know, build it back out again, because it was pretty noticeable. I have a lot of scars there. So, well,
I appreciate you being vulnerable and being transparent, because we don't know what's about to happen, do we? I mean, we have no idea. We know they're going to be explanted.
Yes.
But we don't know. I mean, I know, and I know in my heart of hearts that you are going to be so much better, that you are getting ready to, I mean, we've started your healing journey multiple times through the years, right?
Yeah.
And now I think we're getting ready to take it over the top.
Yeah.
So
well, we found some of the other things, that were going on. I had a fluoroquinolone, which caused spontaneous ruptures. That was a complication. This post, which I still don't have the tooth there, it's got to heal for a while longer before they can put the permanent in. But pulling that out, I was 30-40% better. I couldn't believe how much better I was. I'm all bendy again. I can do yoga again for the first time in years. So there was already metal in my body from the implants, and now you put a post in there too. See, so a lot of you got to look at double whammies. The mold that we had in our house when we had that flood, and they had to tear out the wall and redo it, and I got so sick, from that. So there are multiple levels of things going on. So you have to be a body detective.
Yes.
Look at every element. And this is what Dani has taught me over the year. And now I have become, yeah, let's do this.
Sleuth. Yep.
I'm compliant, aren't I?
You are. She's extremely compliant. I mean, she's done everything I've ever asked her to do. And for whatever reason you have, and we've been on target sometimes, but sometimes we haven't. And I think you have to know, and not that I'm the greatest provider ever, but you have to find a provider who knows how to say, I don't know. I don't have any idea. I can't, you're as far as we can go. And you had to leave. You left me for a couple of years because I sent her on. I said, I can't, you need IV chelation. You need things that I can't do for you.
Yeah.
And you went,
yep.
Now we're back.
As soon as he, that doctor got me as far as I could go with him to get the metals out. And then we realized that there's another problem. And I wouldn't be going through this process now, Dani, if you hadn't said, I had this person that just had their implants.
So I need to get in touch with her and let her know, say, you for sure right now have changed one woman's life. And maybe many of you now who are watching will at least consider. And I want you to think back, when you got your implants, were you healthy? Before you got your implants, were you healthy? I would hate to think somebody would put them in you if you already had a bunch of autoimmune disease going on or all kinds of illnesses, Lyme disease and things. But I also know that you have to follow the money in this industry and all industries. And, that's a big business, big business. So, and
that's why a lot of surgeons, I think, don't acknowledge the breast implant, because the illness, because why?
Their livelihood, right?
Yeah, their cash cow.
That's true. And it is a cash cow because it's not covered by insurance. So literally a cash cow.
Yep. That's it.
Sorry.
Okay. So anyway,
weird.
Were you sick before you had your implants? All of you that are watching, I want you to think about that. If you were not sick before your implants, look back on a timeline. When did I start getting sick? What were the first symptoms? Was it joint pain? Was it insomnia? Was it brain fog? Was it, chest burning? Was it chest pressure? I mean, think about all of this and really write this down in a timeline, because you may have breast implant illness. It may be something. Now, I would never say, each person is individualized, right? So it's right for you to have them removed, but this is individual, and everyone has their own journey and their own road to walk on these things. And I know me, I would get them out as soon as, I thought something was wrong, just take it out and be done with it. But everybody has a different story. But I do know that if in fact it's breast implant illness, we can only go so far in your healing. Cindy's proof of that. She's done so many things and she's much better, but she's not there yet. And I think we get you better. We treat you with antifungals. We do all these things that we do, change the gut, heal this, do that. But then we always backslide. Mm-hmm. And it's really got me thinking about a whole lot of my patients. And I mean, I'm going to go back to work this week, and really, every single person, patients that I've had in my office for years that maybe I have forgotten they have breast implants. I'm going to every single person. All right, do we have breast implants? You know, and probably plenty of them will look like me and go, hello, no, I need a refund if I do, because this is, but I'm going to say, okay, it's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know.
Poor Chris Motley. He's just sitting over here. But, you know, this is so important, Cindy. And thank you for sharing this, because I know that it's Mother's Day and I know we don't have a ton of people watching tonight, but every one of you who are watching, and Cindy and I were talking about this, we were before we went on air here. If you even think you have a family member or a friend with breast implants, even if they don't, even if you think they may, you share this with them, because you can share these, you know, you share this because it could save someone's life.
That's exactly right.
I mean, that's huge.
I would like with these kind of issues like breast implant illness, do we believe that, or do we think that, Cindy, when you had MTHFR, do you think that, okay, so I have some patients that have breast implants, and it seems that some are like heterozygous and some are homozygous for the, you know, the gene for MTHFR. Some that can handle or can methylate well seem to handle, like, I guess, the breast implants well.
Yeah.
I'm asking, if you got them replaced, this is a question. I don't know. I mean, do you think if you got them replaced every 8 years or 10 years and you kept them methylating, got their liver kept clean, do you think that they could keep the breast implants in, or do you think it's a better choice just to say, let's just take them out? Like, that's just me asking. I mean,
there are some people. I mean, my husband has no allergies to mold whatsoever, you know, but he can't eat beef, you know, and so we've got different allergies. Everybody's body is different. So their symptoms are going to be different. And a lot of times people just have that hardy immune system where it doesn't bother them. And they never bothered me until the car wreck. And then that's when I started having a problem.
Area. Yes.
But I suspect that the methylation issue has always been there, and it just, you know, started getting worse. I've had 22 broken bones in my life. So for some reason, I've always had just easily break bones. I don't know why. So there were signs along the way.
Yes.
That kind of.
How old were you? Because I don't think we said that. How old were you when you had your implants?
The first time that I had it done, I was 24 or 25.
Okay.
And then the second time was in 1997 when I had the car wreck.
Yes.
The car wreck. So those, but the first ones were small. They were just literally just to fill me out a little bit. And I was a B, you know, so I wasn't, I did exactly like you said, and I just was a B. I didn't want to be big. And then the thing that really upset me is the surgeon decided on my size, and I told him I wanted to be exactly the same.
Yes.
And I wake up with these big boombas, and now I'm older and I've gained weight, and now they're even bigger. And I'm like, I don't like this. I'm a runner. So I'm happy to get rid of them.
That's what that plastic surgeon I was listening to today online, he said that you usually get bigger than what you asked for because they blow you up, and you usually get bigger. And they all say nobody wants to be a B cup. Well,
yes, they do.
I could take a B cup. Well, Victoria's Secret
or not to be.
Everybody needs a B.
Everybody, I understand why women do this, because I was standing in Victoria's Secret in Charleston, South Carolina, nothing on from the waist up. And she said, what size are you? I said, I'm a 34A. And so anyway, long story short, she gets all the way down to 32A. Well, they don't make a 32 double A. And she comes in there, and I'm standing. And so everything, I look like I have my grandmother's bra on, just hanging up. I mean, just big, hanging over. She goes, ma'am, we don't make a bra to fit you. And I said, and I am in Charleston, South Carolina, so I don't know anybody in there. I went walking out of that booth with no clothes on, and I stood right there in the middle of that dressing room. And I said, what do you mean you don't make a bra to fit me? I said, you're a bra store. You should make a bra to fit everybody. She goes, well, you need to go to the teen store. I said, kiss my ass. I mean, I did. I was so mad in there. And I stormed out of there. So I totally understand why women want this, because number one, I just wanted to be able to wear something V-neck, because I have a really hard time wearing anything. See, you look good right there. I couldn't wear that because there's nothing there. Everything just falls open. So I totally get it. But we really, so all of us that are my age, that are 40s, 50s, 60s, really need to think about this. And then the young women need to be educated, right? On, do you really want this? You know, how healthy are you? I mean, and there are millions of women out there who have implants who don't have any problems at all.
Right.
But there are also millions of women out there who have implants who developed autoimmune disease and undiagnosed symptoms and crazy illnesses and fatigue and brain fog and all of that after they had their implants.
Right.
So
and
again,
I want to say on the website that we gave them earlier, there is, for anyone who's, you know, wanting to have children and breastfeed, there's a whole page just on that. So look for that too.
Yes, there is. And so we'll put all that information up there. And there's a book called The Naked Truth about implants. And I haven't read that book, but Dr. Kolb, she's a woman in Atlanta, Georgia, plastic surgeon, and she herself has implants. And so she had some things changed and she was sick and all that, but she is a plastic surgeon who specializes. I don't know if you looked into her, Cindy, but
I just started looking into her. And like I said, I wanted to read the book, but I didn't have time. But I'm going to look to see if there's audio, because I'm going on a motorcycle trip. So I'm going to be on the road. And I can.
Oh, yeah. I bet it may be. Yeah. So we're going to put the information up there. But so what I want to do is I want you, after you have your explant and you start feeling better, we have to do a part 2.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And we're going to do, I would like to do probably at least 3, because, you know, right afterwards, I think we should do one. And then a year from now or 6 months from now, so that people there's not a lot of documentation. People kind of fall off, you know, to the wayside. Once they have it done about 6 months, they've gotten used to it. And then we don't hear from them. We need some ongoing research.
Yes, we do. And we can do our own little study right here in Franklin, Tennessee. And if you guys would love to see that, push your heart buttons and your like buttons, and we will make sure we'll do that. And so we're not quite sure when your surgery was. You did have it scheduled for next week.
Yeah, for the 21st.
Yeah.
But I already talked to them and I said, I'm feeling uncomfortable. I keep getting this anxiety. The other day, my anxiety was so high that I was running over, I ran over this abutment. And because I'm just anxious feeling, and I turn too quickly, and I'm like, I never do stuff like that. So I'm like, something's wrong. If your anxiety is really high like that, listen to your intuition.
Yes.
You know, because your intuition, your body knows.
Your body knows.
I think it's really amazing. Like when you talked about formaldehyde in the implants, because some of the same genes that help break down formaldehyde are also the same ones that help break down serotonin. And they say that that makes sense, though. If you had an issue, like you had a genetic SNP or a variant that couldn't break down the formaldehyde, you're probably going to have anxiety somehow tied into that. I got to research that a little bit more. That's pretty.
Wow.
And it's how it's all tied together.
Started something here.
It says that same gene can actually break down histamine. So you're going to always have allergic reactions. I'm just brainstorming being a nerd right now. I'm just thinking.
He's a nerd.
Okay,
we're all about nerds here.
I would love to see. Yeah, that'd be great. 6 months. That'd be so cool.
Oh, it's going to be fabulous.
That's gonna be great.
So anything else before we end here? An hour goes by so fast.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
What?
I can't believe it's already. Yeah, and look at this. Oh my gosh. Few things I just want to tell everybody right now. Before you have the explant, if you're thinking about it, immediately, this is what Dani did for me. Make sure you change your diet. Have a really clean diet. Get rid of, because the candida is going wild in your body because of the implants. So change your diet. I drink this wonderful mixture every single day. I start off my day with vinegar, lemon juice. a little cayenne pepper, and some stevia. And I drink that first thing in the morning before anything else hits my stomach, followed by probiotic. So, and the next part is heal your gut, heal your gut, heal your gut. That's something that Dani preaches all the time. Check MTHFR to see if you have the double mutated gene. Very important. Have a blood test if you have somebody that can do that to see if you have heavy metals, and I don't mean like the bands.
Heavy metal.
Arsenic and lead and cadmium and mercury and all of those things. Yes.
Yep. And in ongoing infections and stuff like that. So the candida, going back to that, there's a lot of mold there. Have your endocrine system checked, your immune system, and start supporting it. Have your thyroid checked. This was something, my thyroid started going haywacky, and Dani helped me to heal that. And I'm not on any medication. So I was able to heal that. You know, your hormones, have your hormones checked. We just did that again. And what's the name of the test that I just did?
For the hormones?
Saliva test?
Yes, a saliva test. Yeah, to check.
Yeah, for ZRT.
Yeah.
Looking at adrenals and hormones. Yes. Saliva test. ZRT.
ZRT. So have that done, you know, supplements, nutrients. There's a whole protocol on that website that you can follow. And then Dani's going to be following up with this, I have the feeling, and she's going to be putting her own protocol. Maybe this is the book that I told you need to write.
Maybe it is. Yes. I need to write a book. I was just talking to somebody about that today, a doctor in California. She's a psychiatrist, a functional medicine psychiatrist. And I said, I need to write a book, but you got to have time to write it. So I'm working on that.
Yeah.
What it's going to be.
And one other thing, move. You will
stop moving when you stop moving. My friend Derek Meyer says that. You know, Derek, the chiropractor, he says that you stop moving when you stop moving, period. And you stop pooping too when you stop moving. And you got to poop. You got to poop well. You have to eat well. You have to sleep well. You have to move well. You have to poop well. You have to decrease stress, and you have to have community. That's right. Right? I feel like Jesse Waters over here. That's that guy who says that. Yeah. You have to. And let me tell you, talk about singing. This woman can sing, because at my 50th birthday party 2 years ago, we sung Delta Dawn. Were you there? You were at the party, but were you there for the? I was there. We sung Delta Dawn. We karaoke Delta Dawn because it was a snowstorm, ice storm, and the band couldn't show up.
And the heat was off. Remember
and
that?
there was no heat.
That was fun.
It was a typical Dani Williamson affair where everything went to hell in a handbasket, but we had a ball. It was
we just said, you know, it is what it is, and we get to own our own attitude. So, you know, attitude or a happitude.
And you know, I'm 52 years old. You're 61. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel so grateful, because there are many women who never made it this far. Right. And so no matter what's going on with you out there, you all be grateful. Be grateful. Be blessed. You are blessed because you've made it this far. You are not your illness. And we know how to help you feel better, right? But you have to take control of your illness. And Cindy did. She had help. She had good help. She had good doctors and good nurse practitioners and good people around her. But she ultimately took control of it. And you were your own sleuth, right?
Right. That's it. I fired all the doctors who only wanted to drug my symptoms, because that's what they were doing. I would have had, you know, I would have been on about 15 different drugs if I had taken everything that they gave me. And I came to you and I said, I don't want any drugs. What can you do to help me? And you were right by my side and said, we can do that. But if you ever need it, let me tell you what you could use. I can prescribe it if you need it, but if you don't need it, we won't put it in your body. And I love that you respected me and my wishes to not have that. After being paralyzed from a drug, I said,
Yeah, that scared me enough to say, no, I'll do whatever. I don't want my name on the bottle.
And then the codeine also stopped my heart. So I actually died.
I don't want, stop. We're not going to talk about this. Okay. All right, guys, we are over tonight, but listen, the bottom line is it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when your implants start to break down, and they will break down.
Yeah.
They are designed to be in there no longer than 8 to 10 years, period. That's it. But if you're sick, if you're having sickness, if you're having symptoms that started after your implants, it could very well be breast implant illness. And so that's what we are learning about, and that's what we are going to be documenting for 3 or 4 sessions here. All right. So we love you guys. I'm sorry we ran over. Happy Mother's Day to every single one of you out there. And Cindy, I love you. And I am so proud of you for taking this challenge on and being transparent about your journey, because it's going to be wonderful, but it's not going to be easy. That's not an easy surgery. And so thank you for everything that you're doing and you're about to do. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Well, thank you. And thank you for helping me on this journey, because I truly don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for you. And I'm just eternally grateful always. So much love to you. Happy Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. Love your tatas.
Yes, love your tatas. Amen. Woo, wait, whether they're a double A or a double D. Love your tatas.
Bye, everybody.
Oh my gosh.